Super Sunday edition. Dane, you awake over there after 3 days of softball? How you doing?
Yeah. The voice is struggling a little bit, but I'll soldier on through for this great occasion tonight. So I'm happy to do it. I'm excited.
I'm smiling for two reasons, Dane, right here. I'm smiling because I got to watch a whole season of Ninja Turtles today. And
All right.
I get to bring our guest host on for this one, our dear friend at this
Yeah.
point, Miranda. Miranda, what's up? How you been, friend?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here, guys. Thanks for reaching out to me to co-host. This will only be like my second co-hosting I've ever done. So
All
yay.
right.
It's a whole new field for you,
Yeah.
as we said. So,
Right.
Dane and Miranda, we got a special one tonight.
Yeah.
I feel like every
Definitely.
time we get a chance, obviously Miranda, the buzz that has been talked about for your episode, we told you that, Miranda.
Yeah.
We are constantly being and chasing down positive female influences, right?
Yeah.
And the message from what you said, Miranda, about selling your heart and your mind and your fist.
Yeah.
That as being your main selling points, it really resonated with a lot of people. And we've got a lady who we feel like really has kind of carried that same story through her
Yeah.
career. Big on really selling your heart and soul and standing up for who you are, not wavering.
Yeah.
So it's a real treat to bring on people that remind us of what you're doing and then are carrying the torch, if you will. Even her
Yeah.
company, which you might get into, called Burn the Ship. So I won't waste any more time. I want to get right down to it and bring on Chelsea Conner to the show. Chelsea, how you doing?
Yeah.
I am doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Oh, it's
Yes.
our pleasure to have you.
Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I know Chelsea and Randy, you ladies are both very
Yeah.
busy. I can't imagine what a day in the life looks like for either one of you. So, Chelsea, we've established some questions. We kind of put our brains together. Thankfully, Miranda was here, so we could have some brain power. I put some questions together. We're going to go ladies first. And Miranda, I know you're going to take the lead for a couple questions for
Yeah.
Chelsea if you want to kick it off for us.
Yeah, sure. I have a couple of questions on top of this I'd love to ask. But the
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
first
Definitely.
question I'll ask you is what's the first thing that goes through your mind as you walk into the octagon? I obviously have like my own things that go on, but for you,
Yeah.
what's your first thing as you walk into the cage that happens?
So my first thing is the last people that I kiss before I go into the octagon are my kids. So they're like
Mm.
always on my mind. When I walk in there, I just know like I have to put on for my kids.
Mm.
And so that's really just the excitement of get in there. I love the competition side of fighting anyways. So I'm super excited. And then like I said, that last little bit of like kissing my kids before I walk into the cage, it just makes me feel like a superhuman
That's
honestly. And
awesome.
I'm just like,
Mm.
yeah,
Is it
That's
like the
awesome.
inspiration for you, kind of? Like your kids are like the inspiration to watch you?
that's
Yeah.
they're a huge inspiration for me.
Mm.
Well, I was going to go off of that now that you said that, especially in the UFC that have controversy in the comments about why would you bring your kids to watch it, especially if you get beat, this or that. So how do you feel about that? I'm sure you've gotten some flack back and forth. I don't have that situation. I don't have children yet. I honestly don't know if I will have children while I fight, but like, how do you deal with that? And do you see it as a super positive thing to watch? Do you see it as an age thing? How is that for you?
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good question. So my daughter, she had watched me, I think she was right around like 4 or 5 when she first started watching me fight. No, probably about 5 or 6, honestly. So she was a little bit older. It's been kind of difficult for her at times. When she first started watching me, I was still an amateur. So I was like not really taking any damage. I was kind of handling my business in there very quickly and
I can see
so
that.
exciting. Like, oh yeah, like my mommy is awesome. And then once it got like where I would come out of the cage and I'd have a black eye or something, then she's like, "Ooh, mommy, I don't know that I like that." So that's been hard. I've not really had anyone like be kind of like upset that I'm bringing my kids along. Everyone's always been really supportive of it. So, which I'm sure in time people are gonna have,
Yeah.
to make, and that's okay. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I really don't care what other people
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
I know what's best for me and for my kids. I want them to be a part of it. I don't
Yeah.
want them to have to live a completely and totally different life.
Yeah.
That what I'm living.
Yeah.
And for me, my daughter, I want her to have that positive role model as a female to be able to look at and know it's okay to be a strong female.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
My
And it's
son loves.
okay to have those losses, right? Okay to have that adversity right back up, and for you to
Yeah.
come back after losses and then come back and win. That's an
Mhm.
awesome thing to show
Yeah.
your kids.
I'm thinking about, I'm just already resonating, Dana. It's, as we say, it's
Yeah.
marinating. And Chelsea, I'm expanding on that topic of bringing your kids. Absolutely, I would have no question if I was in the situation as you, or I'm bringing my kids to the fight. I want them to see that, hey, I can do this. Mommy can do it. So can you. Leading the example, leading the charge, right, Dane? Would you
Definitely.
agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys quite literally, I mean, like I always tell my daughter, life is going to punch you in the face. I mean, you guys literally have it physically, but
Yeah.
but they see you immediately be able to bounce back from it, take it, bounce back, come back even stronger. I mean, it's a great message, and you're not even using a metaphor; you're literally using that.
Yeah.
So it's a great message for your kids to see.
Man.
You know,
and show
and
that
on
flip
top of
of switches too. Sorry, I was gonna say show that flip of switches too, right? You can go
Yeah.
in there, be this aggressive, like take care of business, be this professional person, and then
Mhm.
10 minutes later, black eye cuts, doesn't matter, like go up and hug your kids and be the same mom they always need. And I think that's
Yeah.
really important to show them, like, you can be this aspect and you can be that aspect. Like take care of your business when you need to, be this person, and then learn to adapt and
Yeah.
do what you need to do. Of
Yeah.
course, most important as a parent.
That's wow. Take a fight, and then Chelsea, who wants pancakes, right? So,
There you go.
I love it. Man, Miranda, those are good. Man, let's just stop the interview now. I don't even need to go on, Miranda. Thank you for
Yeah.
no, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, Josh, let's just step back and let them
Yeah,
have this.
let's
This
just go ahead and
amazing. I love it.
watch. We're gonna get our speaking of Netflix.
Right?
So
Biggest fear as a fighter, which might have to do with your children there. I don't know. But what is your biggest fear as a fighter?
My biggest fear would be not performing like to the best of my ability in the cage. I'm like, my fighting style is super entertaining anyways. So if I don't get like fight of the night, that's usually my biggest fear. If I don't either get like fight of the night, submission of the night, something, if I don't get a reward like as like that title, that's usually my biggest fear.
I love that.
Oh, wow.
I feel like I'm hearing the Ricky Bobby there. If you ain't first, you last. I like that.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
I love that. That's fantastic. And that's how me and Dane always are, because Dane always takes second place in tug of war against me when we play. Long story. So leading into Miranda, my apologies, my friend. That's great. That was
I'll
awesome.
allow it. I'll allow it.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I'll go into question 3, sort of question 1, Dane. When you look at your career, Miranda, or excuse me, Chelsea, fighting for quite some time, really making your way as a fighter, and I call it grassroots, right? I'm so impressed by people like you, Chelsea and Miranda, where you literally do this kind of grassroots style, and it's not an overnight flash of the pan. It's a body of work. It's like, it is hard work. Take me back in the day, maybe your memory of your first fight. When did you get that itch, if you will, to start fighting in any capacity? How old were you when you got the itch to start doing this, Chelsea?
So probably like 6. Me and my sister.
He's like, put me in the cage.
Lock the door, Mom.
Yeah, my sisters and I fought a whole bunch growing up. I had 2 older sisters, and they beat the crap out of me for a while, and then I finally got fed up with it, and I was like, hey, like, I'm gonna start putting it on you guys. So I, at a very young age, I was I don't want to say I was an aggressive kid, but I just liked to, like, be able to hold my own. And I had an uncle who did karate, and so I watched him, and there was a lot of like just where I kind of idolized him, and the way his composure that he had, where I knew what he was capable of. He could handle his own business, but he didn't always have to talk about it, and he was very composed with it. So yeah, I was a very young age. I was very interested.
Awesome.
That's a great question. No, I was inspired by my uncle. The other one, Dane. No, I'm kidding. Dane, go have a question too.
Well, before I go to question 2, you mentioned your uncle in karate. Was that your first discipline as a fighter to learn?
It was not. No, my first experience was just an MMA gym that I walked into when I was 18, and it was back in 2009. So totally different era of fighting. It was just kind of like, hey, are you tough? Do you want to punch someone? Do you want to get punched? That type of thing. It was not, there really wasn't a whole lot of skills or anything being taught. It was just like, do you want to fight? And they would put you in there, whether you had experience
Wow.
or not.
Oh, wow.
Throw you into the fire. Wow.
Yeah,
Into the fire.
wow. And I'm sure, Chelsea, you might have experienced this too. I remember being at weigh-ins, and luckily it didn't happen with my opponents because I was like young and nobody thought I would be good when I started out. But I had another female that I saw that was getting ready for a fight at the same promotion I did for my first fight. And her fighter didn't show up, right? Her opponent didn't show up. And so they literally are in the crowd and they're like, hey, are there any women in here that would want to take this fight? And I was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And that was beyond 2009. That was like 2015. So even 6 years later, they're still doing like the same stuff.
Wow.
That was definitely something very popular back in the day. I come a long way from where
Thank
we used
goodness.
to be.
And I gotta, Dane, before you take two, we gotta stop and say thank you again, Chelsea, Miranda, people like ladies like yourself. Thank you, because that should be, as we passionately talk about this all the time. That stuff should never even be thought of. It's like, hey, when are you fighting? It shouldn't. So anyway, I'll get on my candy stick. Dane has to stop me. I don't want to preach a sermon, but thank you for
candy stick for a minute about the same thing. This whole like slap fighting and then the butt slap fight. I don't know if you've seen that, Chelsea, but absolutely
terrible.
Disgraceful to me, disrespectful to me. And like I've even seen some of the female fighters, they're like, I'll do it. And I'm like,
no, how
degrading, not only to us as females, but as our sport, as to what work we've done and stuff. And like a lot of people want to promote it, and it just makes it really sad and really hard for people like me and Chelsea to make it in this one when we aren't having anything to do with that kind of stuff.
So discrediting, exactly what Miranda said. It's so discrediting to the women that are trying to do it, not taking outs in the easy way. We just want to be respected and known for our fight.
Respect my choices too, like I literally, you just said, I've probably got 3 messages today asking for me to send that kind of stuff to them. And I'm like, what the heck?
Well, I know I'm glad we got into that topic. Thank you, ladies, again for it is a passionate topic for us, where, as we say every time to even our girls that we teach and train, sell your mind and your heart. That's all you need to sell, right? And that's how we feel about it, and let everything else. And again, like I said, we're not here to we're not here to judge choices and all that, but it's about athleticism, about respect, about being who you are, and having I guess the celebration of who you are because of your athleticism. So they bail me out because I'll start preaching. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just absorbing all that, like I always go back to, if you do something great, people are going to gravitate to you. And if you want respect, if you want to get respect, all they have to do is go YouTube one of you guys' fights or watch the next one, and they'll grab a whole new respect like Josh and I have for you.
Yeah.
So keep doing what you're doing. We love it. And that's why we like showcasing athletes like yourself. So now, Chelsea, now that you've got all these fights in your belt, you started at a young age and you're going along in your career, looking back, do you have a moment or a fight that's always at the forefront of your mind, that when somebody asks you, what is your favorite moment that you have so far?
So far, my most favorite would have probably been the Eleni Pereira fight that I just fought back in June. Early on with my fighting, I'd say I was honestly in a pretty dark place with it. There wasn't like, I fought for honestly like my mental health is why I was fighting back in the day. So now, like being kind of like a rebirth of myself, the Eleni Pereira fight was definitely my funnest fight. I just enjoyed every second of it. I didn't win that fight, and it was a tough fight, but I loved it. I had fun, and it was, I came off from having a kid and a 5-year layoff. That's a big layoff to take a big fight like that. Like she was definitely probably not the person that I should have gotten in there with on a 5-year layoff, but I had fun and I loved it and I enjoyed it. So that would be my fun moment.
It was interesting to watch that one. I tell you what, I studied it a couple times, and it's like you said, it's definitely, as we tell our teams too, and I keep going back to this, and
Yeah.
maybe Brandon, if you want to expand on that, definitely getting in and fighting someone at your caliber or higher. I'm glad you did. You didn't really take I don't know if it's the easy way out, Chelsea, but kudos to you for stepping right back in there and going after a heavy hitter like that. It's awesome. So.
Win or loss, I'll expand, like win or lose, like it's always fun to just go in there and have very competitive fights. They're like back and forth where you're putting like levels of adversity, come over them, like kind of learn new things about yourself, I guess, within the fights.
Right.
Like a lot of I guess I have favorites for different reasons, right? But a lot of like the hard won battles, or ones like even my Macy fight that I lost, right? But that one was like really fun for me to have, right? And I was like, wow, I went in there and finally kind of let loose with who I knew I was, like showed the aggression with what I knew I could do. So I definitely understand, Chelsea, like win or lose, like some of those fights are the most fun fights, going in there and challenging yourself, even if it's against somebody that you look back and say, I probably should have taken a chill pill on that one.
Go big or go home, right? Is that the saying?
There you go.
Well, Chelsea, I think about your influences, right? And again, I say this, I feel like it's a broken record. Literally, me and Dane say this, but the influence that ladies like you and Miranda leave on this generation and the upcoming generations. I think, is it Gen Zs? I don't know what generation we are. I'm not sure what they're called, the 13-year-olds, but our age group, definitely they see ladies like yourself who, just the composure, the quiet storm, the confidence, the ability to just go out there and just get it done, right? And the grit. Maybe one or two, I say maybe the Mount Rushmore, if I say of examples on your life, Chelsea, who's been a couple role models in your career so far, if you will.
I'd say, Gina Carano, she was one, back in the day, that I looked up to. Ronda Rousey, I have a lot of respect and love for Ronda Rousey. And I honestly, like, I really kind of a lot like Miranda, like I don't really follow a whole bunch. I don't really have a lot of time to like watch TV and do things like that. So I don't get too caught up on like, on what everyone else is doing. I just kind of focus on myself. Yeah. Those were some of the females that I've kind of like looked up to. Sarah McMahon is another one. I love her.
Sarah McMahon was always a big one that I looked up to too. Like just her wrestling and being able to grind out fights was always pretty impressive. And she's still fighting. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Man. Kid, she's a mom as well. Like I actually went to a wrestling clinic and I got to be her drill partner, and it was like, I had this fangirl moment. I kept on telling myself, like, you're not a fangirl over her. Don't be a weirdo. And I did. It was like, oh my goodness, I get a picture. Oh, don't do that, but yeah, I did. So
it's funny. My little sister, like when she started fighting, of course she's been around me. She's gotten to be around a lot of UFC fighters and stuff. And so every time we see anybody fangirl for me, she's like, that's so lame. And I'm like, you just don't like it that I'm getting attention.
That's awesome.
So whenever you sign the autograph, you just look right at her.
Yeah, right.
Take a selfie with it. That's awesome. So I think of that's just I'm kind of circling back through already processed the interview. You guys both said something that I'm gonna have to maybe take this a step further in my life, maybe, because I heard both of you very successful, very accomplished, very well known in your circles. I don't have a lot of time to listen to the critics. I don't have a lot of time to listen to any of the naysayers, and I don't watch a lot of that. That's something I've always found fascinating with people like Chelsea and you, Miranda. You don't have a lot of time for the criticism. It just there's no time for it. So that stood out to me. Dane, so help me out with 4 before I start fanboying myself.
Oh yeah, now that you have your career going, and we're coming to the end of October already for this 2023 year. What's on the horizon for you to wrap up the year, and then obviously going into 2024? What's on the horizon for you as a fighter, or in your career in general?
Yeah, right now I think I'm going to be doing a fight to win grappling tournament in November. I'm going to do that, and January is when I'm looking to fight again for LFA. So I was going to try and squeeze one in between there. If I get an offer before then, I'll take it maybe in December. But January for sure is when it's going to be for LFA.
I love it. So right around the corner, man. And I think fighters have said about an 8 to 10 week sweet spot for training. So that's about right in your wheelhouse, Chelsea. About 10 weeks, you'd say.
Yep. Yeah, I like the 8-week camp is good. And it's nice to have a little, know what's coming up, before that 10 to even if you get 12 weeks notice, that's awesome. But 8 weeks is solid for me.
And that's your sweet spot too, Miranda. You told me 8 to 10 weeks. Is that about right for you too, Miranda?
I would love 8 weeks. I told you I've only gotten 2 fights ever in my entire 27 fight career to do that. But yes, 8 weeks would be awesome.
Oh man, I love it. So I'm going to transition for a second, Chelsea. I know you said this will make you a little nervous, but to get the wiggles out, it's all good. So it's a game that Dane and I play, and tonight we're bringing Miranda into this. So Miranda, I didn't give you the questions on purpose. I want to have a little shock element from you too. But Dane and I have these questions. So what this is, Chelsea, let me explain the rules of this game, okay? The rules are simple. We're going to play a game. I'm trying to do my best Jigsaw voice. I want to play a game, right? So and the rules are simple. We're going to all bet on what we think you're going to say, the outcome of this. So Miranda, you have to do this on the fly. You have to bet on the fly, okay? But
are we
Dane and I,
money? Because if we are, Chelsea, we need to start a little sign language thing over the side. So all right.
we're betting, for those of you that you're too young, Miranda and Chelsea, but we're betting Pogs back from the 90s. That's
what we're talking
about. So anyway, so I'm going to present these questions. Chelsea, again, there's no wrong answer. You just got to pick one of the two. This is more about picking your personality. All of these questions we've cultivated from the audience. We love all these actors and celebrities and all of that. So there's no wrong answer. It's just a personality test for you. Okay. So, I scared her speechless. You ready, Chelsea?
I'm ready.
Okay. So first question, there's a lot of acting type media. It's interesting enough with the maybe the not so present on media stuff, but first question, Chelsea, as Miranda has said before, a lot of athletes, even Ronda Rousey, one of the greats, gets called up to do a lot of movie appearances, maybe remakes, athletic type things, right? So you're called up and they said, we would like to reboot these 2 franchises and give them a female lead actress spin on these franchises, okay? And you get to pick which one that you want to be a part of. So Chelsea, you can be a part of the female remake of Never Back Down. Fantastic MMA movie. I love the series. So you can be a part of Never Back Down. If you don't have it, it is on Netflix. Or B, you can be a part of the rebooting of the franchise of the Kickboxer series, the old school Van Damme, but it's going to be a female-driven lead. So you can be a part of Never Back Down or Kickboxer. Before you respond, Miranda, do you have your pick in your mind before she responds?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Okay. And I know what Dane's got. So Chelsea, which one are you going with on that?
I'm gonna go with Never Back Down.
Yeah! Go. I had that one. So let's go. Dane, did you have that one?
No, I was hoping for the Kickboxer. Right?
Me too. I'm super old school. Kickboxer was like the thing, and I watched that. I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah, put the glass on the gloves. The glass on the gloves.
Yes!
Let's go. Yeah.
A funny quick story about that. We have a girl that plays softball, and whenever she comes up to bat, we always chant "Nuk Su Cow" for her.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's awesome. Her parents raised her right, Dan, on that one. That's awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
So question 2, so check this out, Chelsea. We're going to go comic book world for a second. Like I said, anything's possible. Reality can sometimes slip away and we can be out of the element of reality, okay? So the next question, you're called up to do a fight with 2 of these superheroes. And, it's somehow evenly matched. I'm not sure what your superpower is, but you get to step in the octagon against one of these 2 famous female superheroes. You can take up a fight against She-Hulk or Superwoman. Who are you going to go against?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Can I say it?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely She-Hulk.
She-Hulk?
For sure.
Let's go. Love the show. It's a good show too on Disney. It's on Disney as well. It's a great show. So it's a whole series.
Show, but I like it, and that's the one I would have picked. I just thought it was way too it was almost too corny. I like corny, but I was like, come on, let's get it going. But I don't know. I also like things in the background as I'm like working and stuff. I don't pay much attention. I'm like, if you don't get to the action, I'm just like,
let's go. Yeah. I'm out. Dave, did you have She-Hulk or who'd you have?
Oh yeah, She-Hulk.
Got you. Okay, got you. So I actually had Superwoman. I was looking for like one of those epic battles.
I would have picked Superwoman. I dressed up for her 4 years in a row for Halloween because that's the costume they had.
Love it. I love it. I love it. So a couple more for you. I got 2 more actual rapid fire questions. So the next one, again, we're going with strong lady leads here. So there's a breakdancing competition. You guys got some time off and you're not at a fight. You get a chance to kind of breathe and just take some time off. And ESPN says, hey, we're doing a whole new sport. Actresses and actors both, we're calling you up to do a breakdancing tournament. So get this, your choices of who you have to breakdance against. I have to take a minute because the question is so great. This one came in actually from one of our fans. So you have to breakdance. I gotta stop. I can't even say it, Dane. I can't even say this. So you have to breakdance against one of these two celebrities, both amazing. I love them both. Marge Simpson or Peter Griffin from Family Guy. So you have to breakdance to come to life. Marge Simpson or Peter Griffin from Family Guy. Who are you breakdancing against?
I'm gonna go with Marge Simpson. That would be.
I missed it.
Would you have, Dane?
Oh, I had Peter Griffin. He has some moves. I think I can.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking Peter because she could beat him, no problem. You know, she could.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I love that. I didn't think of that. So that's awesome. So last rapid fire question. So again, actresses, past or present, come back to life. It's a theme where it doesn't matter what time frame we're in. So last question, you're asked to do. This one gets brought up a lot. You get asked to do a 3-point competition. And you have two people that you can shoot the 3-point contest against. So your first choice, and I love both these ladies, they're so sweet in their own ways. You can go against everybody love Raymond's grandma, Doris, the classic Doris. Or one of my favorite shows of all time, you can have a 3-point contest against the teacher from the Magic School Bus, the red-haired lady. So Doris or the lady from the Magic School Bus in a 3-point competition, who are you going against?
Oh, Miss Friend from the Magic School Bus, for sure.
I had it, man. She's awesome. She taught me so many wise things, Nate. Did you have that one?
No, I had Doris.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I had Doris because I figured she'd kind of try to get in your head, talking a little bit how she would do with Raymond there.
Who'd you have, Miranda? Which one?
I had the Magic School Bus.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So
I love the meme of that where she's like lifting the weights and they're like, nobody knew how strong she was. 500 pounds. I'm like, yes.
She's a fighter for real. I love it. So
yeah.
Well, Chelsea, thank you. Hopefully in interviews and media and stuff like that, that's a little different segment for us. I appreciate you there. So on that one. So I'll give it back to Dane for that final segment.
On this segment, Chelsea, we call it an open mic. We kind of open the floor up to maybe have you talk to some of our younger viewers that aspire to be as great as they can be by your influence. Is there maybe a mantra or something you've carried through your life and career that maybe you can pass on to that younger generation to help them along their path as well?
Yeah, for sure. I guess the biggest thing, you do not have to sell out. You doing that is going to take you down not a good path. So and respect yourself. Don't just work hard. That's my biggest advice. Work hard, trust the process.
Trust the process is good. I think about that saying, and it really does fit, and it hits home. And again, I am so passionate about the way you lay that message out there. Dane and I agree, Miranda. We know we've agreed on this many times. Yeah. It just needs to be at that point. When we began doing this show a few years back, it's like, look, we need to get to that point where it doesn't have to be where we say male or female athlete. It's just this athlete is coming on the show, right? That just should be all it is, right? This fighter, Chelsea, coming on the show, or this fighter, Dylan, or whoever, right? It's just talking about your body of work. So I appreciate you really recalling that message strong is sell your heart and sell your mind and let everything else to the talking. Would you say, Dane? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the carrots out there always in that aspect, like you said, but if you just stick to what you're wanting to do and do it with passion and do it pure, people are going to gravitate to you. And you guys are a perfect example of it. I mean, we found you, we've watched you, and you do it the right way. And the messages you guys send, not only to us, I guess through us to these younger generation is something that if they listen to any of it, they're going to be a better people because of it. So we thank you for that.
Yeah. And Miranda, you said something that I go back to. And again, I kind of like the way you spin it around. We're not here to tell anybody. We're not telling anybody what to do, or I'm not big on judging a path or whatnot, but it's just nice to know that you can take a different path and still chase your dreams, Miranda. So I like the way you both said that, actually, it was interesting. We had a morning interview. We had a gentleman on that was in France. It was 5 a.m. And it fits, Chelsea, what you were saying. He's an artist, right? And he was talking to us about doing things your way for the long haul. And Chelsea, I look at your storied career. This is, I think you said 13 years, if I recall right. And it's nice to have that brand recognition. And you've done it your way from the start. Miranda, same thing. 37 fights in, you've been able to do it your way and build a fan base of people that love you for what you're presenting, right? So I just love it. So Dane, how do I even land that plane? Because that's awesome, man.
Man, I'm kind of at a loss myself, which is pretty stunning for both of us to be at a loss. But when you're surrounded by great people, they have a tendency to tell you things that you have to sit there and process, and it takes a little longer because there's so much to unpack. A few words can carry so much weight. So
man,
I'm struggling myself to find a way to land.
Write it down in history. Dane and Josh are both speechless. That never happened. So Chelsea, you hit the note, whatever the right note is, you hit it. So Chelsea, I am honored, and it's a privilege to have gotten to really do this. I'm telling you, we believe in what you're doing. We try to celebrate and share everything you ladies both do, and we respect the heck out of you.
I do have one more question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, definitely.
Chelsea, and if you don't want to answer it, that's fine, especially on the air. But where do you train / where do you live? And obviously don't give me your address, but I just want to see if you were close by.
Sesame Street.
So I'm in Piqua, Ohio. So I train at Fightopia. It's here in Piqua.
Got it. Okay, so you are a little ways away. They thought that maybe it was Colorado, and I was like, well, she's in Colorado. She gotta come down and train with me.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was hoping, because I saw that you were in Virginia for a little while, and I was like, oh, I should go cross train. But yeah, I didn't really, like, now that I know you, I guess I feel like I know you.
When I looked you up initially, I saw your nickname Tiny Tank before I saw what weight class. I was like, is she a 105er? I was like, I don't know. And I'm like looking, and I'm like, okay. So I assume you train with a bunch of guys and stuff, that you're still like feeling very small wherever you train, right? And I will say, one of the funniest things I find is when I meet fans in person or meet and greets and stuff, they're always like, you're so small. I'm like, yes. Like, what do you think a 125 female looks like? Like,
I told you that. Miranda, I told you that's my birth weight. No, I'm kidding. So Chelsea, Chelsea, my bad on the Ohio thing. I got a C+ in social studies and geography. So I'm like, Colorado, Ohio. It's somewhere near Texas. I don't know.
Right,
I'm kidding. It's like on the map. It's like this, So. But no, I appreciate you, Miranda. Great dialogue, Chelsea. I appreciate you. Powerful stuff and stuff that needs to be heard, right? But you ladies both say it in a very impactful, powerful way. You don't have to, it's just a path that I respect the path that you're taking, and it's kind of a more grassroots. I keep going back to being Dane say. So Chelsea, I respect you, and please make sure this is the first of many. Please don't hesitate to let's set this up, and maybe as you get it around your next fight, we can promote maybe another guest appearance or something. Okay.
Yeah.
So
most definitely.
Best wishes, Chelsea.
Thank you. You too, Miranda.
Thanks.
Well, Chelsea, we'll get you back tonight unless there's anything in closing you'd like to say about my geography skills. I apologize. Anything in closing you'd like to say? Or...
You didn't guarantee it, to be fair. You were just like, I think maybe Colorado. So
I was like, let me make sure Chelsea's okay with it. I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah. Thanks,
Chelsea,
thanks for softening the landing there.
Yeah.
Well, Chelsea, thanks again for stopping by. We'll do it again soon. We appreciate you so much. You're welcome to drop off or hang back if you'd like, but thank you for your time. We'll make sure to be in touch and do this again very soon. Okay. So
thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Of course, my friend.
Thank you.
Care.
It was our pleasure.
And guys, that's Chelsea Conner, the one and only. Miranda, so I know we'll stop talking for a moment, ladies first. What do you think of Chelsea? Wasn't that awesome tonight?
It is awesome. I didn't get much time to go back and look at it when you guys had first messaged me about it. So I was like prepping. I just got done doing a Bible study actually, like at my house. Very and I was like, you guys got to go.
Wow.
I got to get ready for this interview. And so I went and checked her out, and Tapology is kind of my go-to, like, let me check out fighters thing, because usually they have a lot more information than like ShareDog or something like that. And so I was looking, I was like, she's in Michigan ranked as a fighter. And I was like, maybe I have trained with her before. I have no idea, because it's one of those things where over the years, and like she's trained for so long, has so much experience, it's like, I don't even know. Like maybe I've been in the same room with her before, it's hard to
so cool.
hard to know that kind of stuff. And I was looking at like some of the fighters she's fought, and I know Cynthia Arcero, not know her, but like know of her and stuff. And I was like, that's pretty cool, like how the same like names come in. I've trained with Ali Beth Millerion, which I think was her last amateur fight. So it's just funny how small the world of female martial arts is, like I mean, there's only a few hundred in the States as a whole, especially pros, and a lot of them are foreign, coming to the United States. So it's really cool finding new fighters, finding out where they're from, stories, and for her to be another fighter that kind of sticks to that straight path instead of going, which I'd say 80% of female fighters do. It's really good to see, really good to hear, and her being a mom and still fighting is always inspirational. Like I think I told you guys last time, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I'll ever come back after having kids. I don't really want to, but I absolutely like. I find it mind-blowing.
Hats off.
Do that.
Yeah, mad respect, So I just
most
again, I learned a lot from these past couple of days. We talked about it. Chelsea talked a lot about representation and a example for her kids, that it's okay to chase your dreams, and it's okay to literally let life punch you sometimes in the face, literally, and get back up. So Dane, you said that too.
I think it's necessary. I've always said, like in training, when I'm at seminars, even like when I'm talking to high schools and stuff, I'll be like, I believe every person should be punched in the face at least once in their life. And I believe that every person should punch someone in the face at least once in their life. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but one, understand that people aren't breakable things. Like you're not going to die from getting hit in the face. Now, one thing, if Mike Tyson's coming up there and he gets to swing at you with a sucker punch, like that's not what I mean. Like you're ready to fight and you get hit once. Everybody's like, I could never get hit. Oh my God, I could never. And I'm like, you could though. It's not that bad. Right? So I'll have females, when I train self-defense classes and stuff, I'll put on like a 16-ounce glove and I'll be like, come here, I'm going to hit you and you're going to be fine. And like, give me your forehead, and I'll just like barely touch them. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to hit you a little harder. Okay. And I'll like hit them like 20%. And they're like, oh, it's fine. And I'm like, well, that's how hard you get hit if we were doing sparring the first time ever. So like, maybe you should jump in, it's like once somebody understands that they're not a piece of glass, I think it changes the whole perspective on life, their whole perspective on confidence and being able to defend themselves. And then when you punch someone and also understand how much damage that can cause, it makes you a little bit more aware of discipline and a little bit more aware of what a human is capable of. And I think just those aspects are important, both figuratively and literally.
Man.
You mentioned Mike Tyson. I think he was the one that he said everybody's a great fighter until they get punched in the face.
Definitely one of the wisdom behind the sayings, man. But I think there's been so many lessons in this episode, and as we approach episode 180 in the series, what you've had to say, you and Chelsea, just bringing so much good dialogue. I have to say that I learn something new every time. Dana and I always say the next generation of athletes is in good hands. And
absolutely,
Miranda and Chelsea leading the charge. I really feel that way. So Miranda, I am blessed. Dana and I are blessed to have you and Chelsea on for coming back. At this point, we're gonna have to make you a regular because you got a lot of good content and dialogue. So we'll have to make this a thing every now and then.
That'd be awesome. Just as long as your fans start buying stuff off of my site, you got it. Okay?
Let's go, guys. Let's make sure, guys. We'll post a link. Miranda's got some good merchandise. Doing got a event coming up pretty soon in the Kansas City area. We'll make sure to put those links as well. We got to make sure that we connect that world of the small world as it is. Great way to bring that social aspect and promote that. So Miranda, I am grateful. So that's wow, another great interview, chance to steal you away for a little bit of your time. And closing, Miranda, thank you on behalf of Dana and I.
Absolutely.
Won't keep any longer. Dana, in closing, that was a good one, man. What do you think, man?
I loved every minute of it. Like I say, our hearts are full. I mean, you learn something, and I take a lot of these interviews and go and use some of the things you guys have said to take to our girls that play softball, about toughness, about bouncing back. And this episode is no different. I'm going to take some of the things you guys have said that I've learned and bring it to them and hopefully make them a little bit better individuals, and I'll direct them definitely to you guys' episodes, which I direct them to all of our episodes. So thank you for giving us you guys' time tonight. Loved it.
I appreciate it. If I could ask a more personal question, how are you guys related?
Yeah. So Dane is my uncle by birth. So Dane has always been like an uncle to me since I was born. So yeah, we're from Kansas, and we actually transplanted Sooners. We're technically from Oklahoma originally. The whole family kind of moved up here in the early 90s from Oklahoma to kind of just venture off into Kansas, and then that's when we became a part of Chaos Softball, and then next thing you know, we're calling games, and then we're interviewing local athletes, and it goes into all sports and music, and here we are down the road, so
all right, cool.
Yeah, man, Miranda, I don't know how to land these planes sometimes. You get to meet your friends, it's like friends at this point. So Miranda, we'll make sure we get the links out. We'll promote that for the heck out of it. We'll get this episode out hopefully by the end of the week. Chelsea and Miranda, thank you for your time. And we'll close on this. We got a big week. We'll save some of that for the track, as the kids say. Don't forget, as always, that we love you. And Dane,
thank you for listening.